Explorers, experts, and, on occasion, regular people make incredible discoveries every single day. Sometimes we don't hear about some of the ones that go under the radar discovered under ordinary circumstances by ordinary people. So today, here at Unexplained Mysteries, we'll be taking a look at 3 fascinating discoveries. The 2000-year-old monolith reveals hidden symbols in the Amazon. Some of the most fascinating evidence of the ancient history of the Amazon lies hidden deep within the dense jungle, requiring historians interested in studying and recording the lives of the long-gone original residents of the area to hike and climb perilous distances through the sprawling trees and choking vines. However, it is all worth it when they make an important discovery that helps to preserve the history of the ancient people. Recently, a team working in northern Peru was able to make one of these fascinating discoveries when they 3D scanned the eroded remnants of a massive monolith that dated back an astonishing 2,000 years. The monolith itself was not hidden. In fact, it was in plain sight and was known about by the locals in the area. However, the village that surrounded the stone was incredibly remote and rarely visited. So it was not until a team of researchers set out to hike the thousands of meters to reach the stone that the markings were able to be studied more extensively, and what they found was truly astonishing. Although there was some visible evidence of carvings on the stone, they were severely eroded and in danger of being lost entirely if the erosion continued. In order to digitally preserve and more closely study the designs, the team hauled a 3D scanner up to the village and created scans of the illegible carvings. The scanner was able to better capture the carvings that were no longer visible to the naked eye and paint a picture of what the monolith may have looked like thousands of years ago when it was originally created. And when the designs were viewed through the digital contrast instead of the hard-to-decipher natural stone, the result was an incredibly beautiful abstract design that took the breath of the researchers away. Although the carvings were arranged in a largely abstract design, they seemed to portray a powerful feline feathered figure at the center, which was a popular design in the region at the time, helping to date the stone to somewhere between 200 BC and AD 200. David Fernandez de Villa, who was an archaeologist who had worked with the locals in the region for over 2 decades before joining the expedition to study the stone, said that the discovery of the feline figure carved into the monolith was iconic. Only people of that period can carve it the way that it is. Because of these carvings, researchers were able to determine that the region where the monolith was placed was likely a very sacred location to the inhabitants at the time. Contributing to this conclusion is the fact that the monolith is not composed of a local stone, and weighing around a ton and measuring a whopping 8 meters by 3 meters by 1.5 meters, would have constituted a tremendous community effort in order to haul the massive stone undamaged through the dense mountainous jungle surrounding the region. Now that researchers know that the region was likely a sacred place to the ancient people of Peru, they hope to be able to work with the present-day local inhabitants in order to further study the area in hopes of learning even more about how the people who made the area their home over 2,000 years ago lived and worked. Robot finds possible melted fuel inside Fukushima reactor. Back in 2017, a robot carried out a 3-day inspection inside the Fukushima reactor, uncovering what has been described as and likened to lava rocks inside. A robot lacks sentience, meaning sending a machine into such dangerous territory is the safest, most ethical means of carrying out research in Fukushima. The robot found a significant quantity of solidified lumps on the floor of the primary containment vessel underneath Fukushima's No. 3 reactor, according to TEPCO. This impressive little robot was apparently the size of just a loaf of bread. Well equipped for the mission, the tech could even make it underwater. TEPCO explained the importance of a discovery like this, as this data from the robot could very possibly have been the first time melted fuel had been spotted since 2011, when the disaster first hit. Not only is this research interesting, but it is also vitally important. In order to decommission the plant, the fuel debris needs to be found. This is a crucial step that many experts believe could take years, even decades, to complete. While the findings from the reactor number 3 were promising, the little robot was not quite successful enough in its task at reactor number 2. By this time, the robot began to struggle with its movements and could not make it underneath the pressure vessel, where scientists speculate fuel may have melted. The Japanese government, in the December of 2016, estimated that covering the recovery costs of the Fukushima Daiichi nuclear disaster, including compensation, decommissioning, and decontamination, could reach the sky-high 21.5 trillion yen, approximately $192.5 billion, and could easily take a minimum of 4 decades to resolve. This long time and high cost are in part due to high levels of radiation, resulting in a slow process in order for safety to be prioritized. Whilst the clock has been ticking away and the days on the calendar are showing that we are moving further and further away from the horrors of the Fukushima disaster, we are still nowhere near rectifying the damage that was caused, and it will be a long time before we are. Scientists have been modelling artificial intelligence on the wrong brain. The march towards creating functioning, entirely capable artificial intelligence is a long battle that the scientific community has been tackling for years. The want to emulate and mimic our own brains in machines has numerous clear beneficial purposes, and whether you believe AI development is for better or for worse, you cannot argue that the research and inventions are truly remarkable. So far, the bulk of AI research has been conducted by looking at deep learning. The physical process for this is making artificial neural networks to layer above one another. This creates what is often described as a web of nodes, the intersecting points in these neurons replicating what is seen in the brain. Together, this mimics the way neurons and the vertebrae in the brain interact and connect with one another. Conceptually speaking, deep learning and machine learning allow the AI to learn and gain this information without the human moderation, input, or teaching. While this is a promising start, it is fair to say a few details have not been figured out just yet. Biologists have arguably been at the forefront of AI research, helping study and understand the human brain before other specialists, largely physicists and engineers, can emulate these results in the machines. That is not to say that collaborative research effort throughout the scientific community has not had its fair share of bumps in the road. Simply put, we cannot and do not understand the entirety of the complex human brain. The brain is a complex organ, and while we can observe neural activity and map out what each lobe primarily does, it is the small, intricate details that leave us pondering. Think about all the things that we just do not know. How do we dream? How do our memories work? Even research into these fields is filled with speculation, overlapping ideas, and disproved theories. And now these issues are creeping into the realm of artificial intelligence, with machines drawing conclusions their makers simply do not understand. In short, we cannot encode or design the innate common sense humans have. So, enter Billy. Billy is a giant Pacific octopus at the Seattle Aquarium. In 2005, she was given a medication bottle filled with herring to try and open. Following that, she and her 8-legged friends had their meals served in jars with fastened lids. It did not take long to learn how to open them, and soon enough, the whole group could open these jars and bottles in under a minute. Aiming to see how the octopus's brain could adapt and differentiate, scientists presented Billy with her food in a bottle with a child-lock cap. This meant instead of twisting, she would have to push down and twist the lid at the same time. These caps are designed to be difficult for children to open, and it happens to the best of us, but it often takes a few goes for adults to crack open the tub of washing tablets. Yet, Billy figured out how to open it in just 55 minutes, and after that initial puzzle of precisely how to open it, was able to crack the case in under 5 minutes each time. Octopuses have something called distributed intelligence, meaning that 2/3 of the neurons are in their arms, not their brains. This means that they can perform more than one task simultaneously. In humans, this ability is limited, often referred to in psychological terms as dual task performance. We cannot perform 2 visual tasks at once, or 2 audio tasks at once, but one of each we can just about manage. Whilst the human brain may seem like the perfect blueprint for artificial intelligence, Octopuses, or rather any other intelligent species, also make promising candidates. The problem-solving, personalities, memories, and the manner and means by which they interact with their environment could make octopuses a great brain to model AI from. Rodney Brooks, a roboticist, perhaps most well known for co-inventing the Roomba, believes that non-human intelligence is the key to cracking AI development. He offered this statement: "It's unfair to claim that an elephant has no intelligence worth studying just because it does not play chess. A more surprising intellect worth studying doesn't come from an animal quite like an octopus, but rather the slime mold Physarum polycephalum. This is an organism with no brain and no neurons, yet it is capable of solving labyrinth mazes, calculating and taking risks, and remembering where it has been already. Some have even suggested it could be the secret to more efficient self-driving cars. We as humans have a long history of being inspired by other species. X-rays are modelled on the reflective eyesight of lobsters, the conquest to the skies and creation of airplanes is inspired by birds, and ultrasound canes for those with visual impairments is based on the echolocation used by bats. Perhaps this is the approach we should be taking to artificial intelligence too." But what do you make of these discoveries? Be sure to let us know your thoughts in the comments section below and help us by growing this community while working to solve these unexplained mysteries. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more videos.